You're listening to the Savoir Faire audio experience.
Are you ready?
The Savoir Faire experience is your guide to everything that has to do with lifestyle. From dating, rides, style, and entertainment. All brought to you by the editor of Savoir Faire magazine, Robert White. Anything goes on this audio experience. So, let's go.
It's still the best.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Savoir Faire audio experience. We are pushing episodes out like crazy this year, and I love bringing you unique and cool people to connect with and network with. I think this person that we're going to communicate with today is very cool. She's got a heck of a long resume of things that she's up to, and I'm really just excited to kind of go down a bunch of rabbit holes with Ivy Teves. How are you, Ivy?
Hello, Robert. Great. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. It's very cool to kind of meet you and talk a little bit. You are adapted a lot of things in life that I kind of believe in and I'm involved with as well. And so I think we're going to have a good conversation today. What I want to start with, Ivy, is just having you give me like maybe a little brief history about who you are. I don't want to dive into your business stuff quite yet or what you're doing professionally now because I want to save those for later. But can you just tell me kind of where you grew up, where you went to school, what kind of things you were interested in when you were younger, kind of what developed you to who you are today?
Oh, wow. Okay. So do we have enough time for that? I'll summarize as best as I can.
Okay.
I've lived a long life now. So, I was born in the Philippines, in the city of Manila. I came to the States when I just turned 15. Immediately lived in Simi Valley, California, went to high school there, went to college for nursing, realized quickly nursing is not for me, although I love meeting people. That's actually my strength. I love talking and just being around people. But the aspect of being in an environment where it's draining energy as far as like sadness and sickness was not for me, unfortunately. But I was able to find another type of work which I enjoy most, and that's actually through corporate work for fashion. So I went to fashion, worked for corporate, like I don't know if you've heard Rock and Republic before. That's a denim company that I was charging $400 at one point. So that was a fun job. A lot of great experiences. It's very Hollywood, I must say. Went into modeling at 15. So I've been doing that all through college and even after. That was actually a very long career for me on the side, which I enjoyed a lot too. Got into TV shows, movies, and went that rabbit hole as well, as far as Hollywood is concerned. Mm-hmm. And then later on found my passion in being plant-based. Actually involved with PETA. I do once in a while voiceovers for them. And then World Wildlife Fund, which is, as you know, a big support for our ecosystem and the animals and the planet itself. So I like doing that, and I'm still an ambassador for them. Oh, and then not to forget, I've been in the show of the World Poker Tour, which is a poker show. If you're into poker, you know that. If not, then you can look me up. One of the Royal Flush Crew. It used to be Royal Flush Crew because there were only girls, and now we added to the rosters, and we have males. So to be fair, it's now Royal Flush Crew. That's been 13 seasons with the show, still going. I'm going to Cambodia next month for one of the WPT events.
I love it. I mean, you're starting to dabble into some of the big topics I want to talk to you about too. So it's good. We'll dive into this stuff. So you've got so many different things you've done, which is cool. I love it. Thanks. So from the Philippines to the U.S., and you instantly became an influencer / model, worked with all kinds of brands through your modeling career, which is very cool. Had some tidbits of things happening for yourself in Hollywood, which is cool. And then you kind of grew up.
I exalted. Yes,
you evolved a little bit, happens. Yes. And now you're really focused on fitness and being a vegan and kind of expanding that that verbiage to a lot of people, which is very cool. What I want to talk about first, and I know there's a lot of pieces to your vegan journey here, is really just your own business. So IV Ever Beauty, right, is the
Oh,
company
yes,
that you founded that's kind of kicking off this year. Talk to me
yes.
about your business and kind of your mission, why you started it, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, I didn't even mention that part. Okay, so I've been working in corporate, and another part that I didn't mention to my whole summary of my life is I was actually working for a couple plus, maybe 2+ years as a vice president for a skincare and cosmetic manufacturing company, in which I learned that this is the thing that I love the most. I was leading a bunch of chemists who was formulating for different brands, and brands that you may know, they're like pretty high end, very clean ingredients. And this is how I learned all about skincare and what, not to look, what to look for and make sure what to avoid. So it inspired me to develop my own, being plant based. And I support, everything that's good for the planet. But I'm like, why don't we start with ourselves? So skin is the biggest organ in our body, and people sometimes forget that. So I want to develop my own, which will benefit a lot of people, and only good ingredients in there that actually work. There's a lot of promises and claims that people do in this industry. And I'll tell you from being, in the front line working on formulation, a lot of them lie. So,
Hmm.
right? Like if I tell you, hey, this has a lot of this ingredient, then you're like, oh my God, I will buy it. But if you look in
Yes.
the ingredients list, it's way behind on the very last, maybe a dust of that ingredient was in it, and they can make claims. So that's sad, but it's happening.
That makes sense.
So
So
that's
when you're building up like a skincare line for this, how do you and this is just maybe an ethic, like a question that I'm not understanding, I guess, but like um all natural to me means minimal shelf life. So how are you overcoming that?
that is true. And I will tell you that what if we're talking about all natural, meaning no preservatives of some sort, then yes, shorter shelf life and very different in texture. You'll notice that. I'm building a plant based and mostly natural, except for the preservative that it still is vitamin C. So people don't realize that vitamin C is being used for a lot of the skincare as preservative, right? It's the acid that we use. So it's not necessarily bad for you. When we say natural, you're still getting ingredients that's all plant-based, ethically sourced, right? No plants, no animals were harmed in this process. Only people
Right,
were being
right.
tested on it. So we're fine with that. There's no animals. So that's what it is. So natural does not always mean it's the best for you either, right? Because it could be natural, but if the source is not ethical, it's not good. I believe you actually interview one of my good friends who's also doing skincare, right?
Uh,
Chris.
Chris, yes, Chris is awesome. Um,
So I actually helped develop her product. That's how we knew
oh,
each
cool.
other,
Okay, very cool. I
right?
like
And
the connection. Yeah, Chris is only like 5 or 6 episodes before you, I think, at this point.
yes,
Yeah, so people can
lovely
scroll
person.
back and listen to that conversation. Yeah, Chris was using milkweed as a main ingredient to make skincare products, which I thought was very cool.
Absolutely. And we formulated that for her, and everything we use is ethically sourced, all natural. We incorporated milkweed seed oil to help with the monarch butterfly benefits and funding
Mm-hmm.
as well for her. So great story. So
Yeah,
Chris
absolutely.
is one of those people I help
N-
formulate.
Okay, very cool. Well, that's good because I know I actually just got Chris's product yesterday delivered to my door. It
Nice.
I can't wait to try on the little butterfly scrunchy thing that came with the packaging.
Oh, great. Yeah, keep me posted how you like it.
Yeah. So, in another layer of your life here, I was going to say something about the butterfly scrunchie. I was going to say, well, tonight I'm going to my buddy's house to play poker. So maybe we could talk about World Poker Tour stuff for a little bit.
Oh,
I have an avid fan of poker. I've been playing for a lot of years. I've traveled with different circuits. Never met you on the WPT circuit before.
oh, wow.
But
Okay.
I've met a handful of everybody else, really, all the hosts, and I've talked to a lot of those people, and I met a couple people from your little crew. So maybe we just missed each
Nice.
other.
Yeah,
But
Robert, where have you been my whole life?
I don't know, but we've missed each other here and there, which is cool that we're finally connecting. Yeah, so I
Absolutely.
mean, what a cool opportunity to kind of work for the World Poker Tour. I have a lot of respect for that organization as a whole.
Thank you.
The events they do are great, and you get to travel around the world
Thank
with
you.
them. So talk to me a little bit
Yes.
about that gig and how that kind of came about, and then like some of the experiences you're having.
Oh my God. I have to say, hands down, one of the best opportunity in life that I have because not only I travel with the best people, I mean, the people that work behind the scenes are the same people I worked with 13 years ago. So that gives you an idea longevity and how strong that family type individual teamwork is working there. We're like a traveling circus. So the production team, the host, we go to different places. We bring the set, we build the set, we turn down the set. I mean, I don't do that myself. The production team does, right? So we
Right.
get to know each other more than family. So it started when my modeling agency actually brought it up to me one time, and I was just actually this is when Rock and Republic ended. So I was
Mm.
like, what am I gonna do now? Like, corporate job, I'm making great money at that time, and I'm like, now I have so much free time. My agent goes, just go to this audition. They're looking for an ambassador, TV host. And I was like, you know what? I used to watch WPT. I think they were on ESPN back then.
Yep. Yep.
And I was
Definitely.
just, right. And I was like, I do home games with my friends and we have fun. So I was like, why not? I have some knowledge. So I'll go for it. Came to the auditions in Hollywood. And I kid you not, there were probably 100 girls that's applying for the same gig. And I was like, oh no.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is one of those cattle calls. Like, I hate it. I was like, what are the chances I'll get this? Like, it's a nationwide search, by the way. So I called my agent actually, and I said, hey, I don't know what's happening. I thought I had an appointment. She's like, just go in there, it'll be okay. And I go. There's like this application form that's like 6 to 8 pages long, like literally with questions. And I was like, I've never been in an audition like this before. Not only that, you're placed in front of the camera, being asked all these questions again. And I was like, wow, this is like serious audition. Usually you show up there, you say your name, what you do, and then you're done, right?
Right.
So plus 100 girls. I can only imagine it's going on for days how many girls will apply for it. So I went home and actually didn't hear from them for about 2 weeks. So I'm like, I never got the job. Yeah, the usual life of a model in LA.
Mm-hmm.
So actually a month went by, still didn't hear anything. Then I was in the middle of a photo shoot, just finishing up, and I get a call. It was actually one of the assistant of the president now, which is Adam Flisker's assistant. And he had asked if I would come in for an audition. They pick about 50 girls out of 1,000. And I was like, what?
Wow.
And they're like, yeah, we're flying everyone in corporate office here in Irvine. When would you like to come? I was like, great. I was like, so then Adam Flisker, I just found out about this from my other interview. I'm very strategic because I know I'm not the prettiest girl. LA's full of them. I'm probably not the smartest either, but I think ahead. So I'm like, what would the other girls do that I can make sure I stand out?
Mm-hmm.
So I figure everyone else will come dressed to the nine and like, I'll meet up and dress to impress. So I went the opposite way. I went very simple. I remember wearing a simple white dress, my hair just down, and not doing anything really. And like super simple, hardly any makeup. And I told them I wanted to take the very first appointment, whatever that is, for the interview. So one of the 50.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the first spot. Showed up an hour early. That's how excited I was. And then got to the interview. And it was the vice president and president at that time. Adam Fusco was still, I think, VP, which is now he's the president CEO. And they asked me so many questions, and I was just like confident. I'm like, I'm just gonna be me. So, I made little jokes here and there, and I guess my personality won them over because 2 weeks later, I got a call, maybe 3 weeks, and saying, "Welcome to the family. I'm one of the 6." So
that's such a cool story. I love it. It's always like hard to think like, okay, well, someone got on the platform, which is very cool, but then to find out what the process was like and how challenging it really was. I mean, that's a lot of respect to the organization to put people through a little bit of stress to figure out who can handle it and who can't.
Absolutely.
But I think it's very cool that you were selected out of obviously like hundreds of people that applied for that job. I know another girl that works in your group too, Chloe, from Florida, I believe.
Oh, I love Chloe. She's one of the new girls. Yes.
Yeah. So what an adorable personality and like really outgoing. I know she just kind of landed and started working with you guys too. So yeah, I mean, it's a very cool little knit community there. And I love that kind of aspect, which is, so that's really cool. Well, I want to kind of keep moving along here because you've got so many little tidbits of information.
Oh yeah, let's go for it.
And probably the biggest one that if people search for you, they're going to find is all this stuff that you have going on with your husband, obviously. So Fit Vegan Coaching is the name of the company that your husband, Maxima, owns. And you're the chief marketing officer, the head of sales. So you're the woman in charge over there, which I like.
I'm behind the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely. But obviously you've joined him on the podcast. You guys talk vegan life quite often. Dive into the company for me really quick and tell me what it's about. And then we'll dive into some specifics about that.
Absolutely. Founded by Maxim about 5 years ago. It was born under the need of having to support his ex-partner who suddenly passed away actually from breast cancer. So before we met, that all happened, right? And the thing is, he wanted to give people a way to either be more aware of what plant-based does for your body. One thing about, and I don't know if you're a meat eater or what, we don't judge people. It's just simply educating and making sure that you learn the proper way. If you were to become a vegan or plant-based, that you're getting enough nutrients in your body, whatever goal it is that you have set up for yourself, right? We help you accomplish that. So we opened up the business for vegans before when it first, was founded 5 years ago to non-vegans and help them do transitioning or just learning more about plant-based eating. So basically, we have a whole health team behind us. We have a doctor in the team. We have our trainers. We have our holistic nutritionist who will be on your side in terms of like accomplishing goals that you have. Maybe it might be fat loss. It might be increasing muscle mass. It might be just mindset. So anything that you need that's very unique and custom to each individual. So we have that free consultation call. Usually you probably get me to talk to you for your starters, and then we'll create a plan for you for free and see where you want to go from there. So pretty simple. We document our life as you see. We're not one of those Instagram influencers that only shows you the good stuff. What you see is the actual thing. I don't have makeup sometimes, and my hair is a mess, and Maxim doesn't edit anything, so he posts everything.
Good for him. I actually don't edit anything either. And I think that's the right thing to do because I don't want my Instagram audience or whoever's paying attention to my stuff to just see highlight reels. So, if someone makes a mistake while we're recording a podcast episode, then I'm sorry, but that's just going to go out to the world now. So I always pre-warn people. Obviously, I gave you the same warning. Hey, we record this, so be careful of that because some people will come on and get comfortable really quickly and they'll cuss and say things that aren't not ideal. And I'm like, that's too bad. It's going out. We'll figure it out with
right.
the podcast episodes, like or the platforms when it hits. We'll figure that out later. So
Yeah, absolutely. And it's more sustainable, right? If you're putting out content there that's no effort given, then yeah, like just let it flow. But other
yeah.
than that, yeah, we don't sugarcoat anything. It is what it
Yeah,
is.
that's good. I mean, I did some research on the Fit Vegan coaching. I think that's a very cool business that you guys have going on. It's cool to see that you have some doctors and some other, fitness coaches and things like that. They're involved that are also vegan as well. And you guys really live
Yeah.
by this philosophy and really kind of take it in. And which is cool that you don't judge other people, because I'm sure that there's obviously
No.
some crazy vegans out there that would beat someone down for eating an egg. So
Right? And you hate
um,
those vegans. And we're like, no, we're not those.
exactly.
Listen,
Yeah. So I mean, are you guys
people will make their
zero?
own.
You guys have zero protein in your diet at this point, except for plant-based products.
Oh, see, that's where we need to educate you.
Okay, go
Protein
for it.
comes from protein. Every vegetable and fruit has some little protein in them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the challenge that usually happens is with people that do not understand plant-based eating. You can be plant-based and vegan and still not eat properly. That's the thing too. Protein comes from a lot of sources, right? So you have tofu, which is 20 grams of protein a block. Usually it's a 1.1 to 1.2 grams per kilogram, right? So say for me, I usually take 80 to 100 protein. So I eat 2 blocks of tofu, a can of beans, and then I supplement with a very good protein powder that's no fillers, just high premium quality. There goes my 80 to 100 grams of protein.
Okay,
Then
you said
supplement that with
tofu,
vegetables.
beans, and then you have a high protein shake as well.
Right, or Satan. There's so many. So that's what we educate people with, because we can
Yeah.
make it as simple as possible for you to be able to consume what you need, right? And give you macros. So we work with macros. That means you have your protein, your carbohydrates, and fat. If you don't balance the three, depending on what the goal is, your body will not change. You will not lose weight, you will plateau, then you do strength training on top of that, because as we age, people don't realize you're losing percentage of your muscle fat and bone density. So people are, especially the boomers, that's our favorite. Those are actually our clients, because they're more aware of like, hey, I want longevity. I know that there's all these studies now saying improving the plant-based is better. You get no cholesterol, right? Plants and vegetables don't have cholesterol. So that's an issue when you get old. Strength training, the more you actually stress your body and challenge it, it gets stronger. So it prevents you from breaking your hips or any bones in your body. So that's something that we want to make sure and people are aware that it's a focus now these days, and it's good to start. It's never too late. As long as you're open to it, you will continually progress. Does that make sense?
That all makes sense to me. Hopefully other people are hearing that part too. Yeah, I mean, I'm in an pretty active, like fit journey right now. Middle age,
Nice.
I'm like early, let's say early 40s at this point.
Oh, okay.
And so
Yeah.
I'm hitting the gym 3 or 4 times a week. I'm really focused on what's going inside my body. I'm doing a lot of portion
Good for
control. Working with
Nice.
my doctors. I have a nutritionist involved in the process. And so, yeah, I think I'm really kind of hyper focused on a lot of things. I'm still a meat eater, but my meat's very clean. It's fish and chicken, kind of a white kind of thing. I got away from
Right.
like beef and other red meats. Tofu has been a
Good.
really good thing in my diet recently. I've been incorporating that slowly in with different flavors to start leaning towards the plant-based stuff. We talked about poker, obviously, and I've been a fan of Daniel Negreanu for years, and so I'm paying attention to
Love
what his lifestyle really looks like.
vegan, right? We know his coach
Vegan,
too.
yeah, he's a vegan man, and so I've been watching a lot of his content and seeing like the things that he's making and buying, which is really the cool insight to him.
Nice.
On top of learning the game, and then on top of like physical fitness stuff that he talks about too. So
Absolutely.
he's a really good
Funny
advocate for poker
story.
players. Actually, he's
He is. He's very disciplined, kind. Like you he's the same person. If you met him in person, he's the same personality, very like kind and playful. I used to see him with his meal prep. He carries his food while he's playing, and that's dedication. And he's
Well,
like, yeah, I have my
because
food.
he spends most of his time playing poker in casinos where it's all junk food, honestly.
Right,
It's pizza,
exactly.
burgers, and sandwiches and soups and, the things that he really is
Right,
not.
you know.
Yeah, I know. I'm there. It's just not the
Right.
healthiest of stuff, and you got to keep your energy level up because you really are
Oh, yeah.
really mentally stressed for hours and hours at that point. So, but no, I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's very cool that you have this really great history, and I feel like a little bit of kindled spirits. You're very creative, entrepreneur. You got some really great opportunities to work and meet a lot of
Thank you.
people in the poker industry.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm really glad that we were able to like connect and talk a little bit and kind of introduce my audience to you. What else do
Absolutely.
we need to tell people? Well, Ivy's on Instagram, right? So you got Ivy Teves,
Yes.
IvyTeves on Instagram.
Haven't changed my last name yet.
That's
So,
true.
yes,
Oh,
it's
by the
Ivy
way,
Teves.
yeah. Speaking of your last name, I think it's hilarious because the one video on YouTube that I watched when I Google or found you today was the one where you and Maxim were sitting on the couch like last year talking about, yeah, we just got married last week and we did it all within a week. And I was like, oh, I want to know this story. So I sat and listened to the video to find out why. And then when I found out that it was like you were in the US, he was in Canada, you guys are constantly going back and forth. I'm like, that makes a
Right.
whole lot of sense.
Absolutely.
To kind of just be like, okay, let's just do this. But I love the storyline of it, like being out of love. Because when he first said it was like a week and it was quick, I was like, ooh, there's something here.
Right?
And then and then I found out you actually like each other.
Yeah, we actually do. You know what's funny is like we've been together 3+ years now, and there's still not a day that passed that we say I love you in the morning, and we do marriage check-in. I don't know if that might be helpful for people. It's probably extreme for some, but every month we have a Sunday devoted to just checking in with each other. We have a list of questions, and we make sure that that's being answered. So if there's anything that we need to adjust, we treat every aspect of our life as it was like something that we can always improve on, whether that's business, career, love, relationship with others. That's always like, hey, how can we be better? How can we improve? So I think that's the key.
Yeah, I think that's really cool too. Currently not in a relationship, but I think if I was, I'd adapt that behavior. It makes sense to really connect with your partner and have kind of that sit down conference meeting and be like, hey,
Absolutely.
yo, bring your wine to the couch and let's talk about our life.
Right? Yeah, exactly. It works for us. So hoping
Yeah.
that.
Well, it sounds like you're doing everything right, Ivy. I'm really glad that we were able to connect and talk a little bit today. So thanks so much for finding some time for us.
Of course. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate you and hope to speak with you again soon.
Sounds good.
Thank you for listening to the show. Please take a minute to head over to www.savfair.com and subscribe to our publication.